Hey, Michael Robinson coming to you with Think Like an Entrepreneur, Succeed in Your Career. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that many people have asked me about over the years: how to handle a difficult boss. Well, the reality is that we've all had problems with our bosses at one point in time or the other. No relationship is perfect, whether it is something that might have been miscommunicated or the boss gave you more work than you anticipated and you're feeling overwhelmed. But that's not what we're talking about. These are incidental things that happens on a regular basis in any relationship when you think about it. What we want to focus on are intrinsically unhealthy working relationship with employers or bosses who do not know how to communicate consistently, verbally or non-verbally, or give destructive criticism all the time instead of constructive criticism, and constantly complain and complain about the work you do, and you never feel like your work is appreciated or that you or they are satisfied with the relationship that you have. So this is what we want to focus on. I've had the opportunity of running a company for over 25 years, and I've had the opportunity of also working for companies on Wall Street. So I've seen both sides of the spectrum of being a boss and certainly being an employee of a company. And one of the things that I know is intrinsic for any relationship, on the job or off, is having a good enough, if not better, working relationship with the person you're constantly interacting with. Certainly it is important for your job. You spend more than half of your time at work, Monday through Friday, or whatever the schedule might be. A 35, 40-hour week work requires that you spend a lot of time with your colleagues and your employer. So you want to make sure that that relationship is solid. The first thing you want to do is to evaluate the situation and judge everything from an objective perspective. We all want to put our emotions into things, right? It's always about how we feel, but we want to look at it from an objective perspective. Is it that you're looking at this relationship because you feel that you're being disrespected consistently, or communication is really poor between you and your employer? If that is the case, then you need to schedule a meeting right away. You need to have a sit down and talk about this fest, right? And before you do that, you want to write your thoughts on paper so that you know what you're saying clearly and objectively, and it's not coming from a place of hurt or a place of darkness, but certainly a place of light, right? Because you want to be open, you don't want to be defensive, you want to be objective and communicative when you meet your employer. But the first thing you want to do more than anything else is always know what your leverage is. And I say this to you all the time because leverage is this thing, right, that oftentimes can tilt the needle, so to speak, when you're communicating or negotiating, because this is a non-verbal contract, right? Or it could be a verbal contract that you're having with your employer, whether you're sitting down and talking with him or her about what can be better or what needs to be improved. So you want to have all your facts lined up. I would suggest you write it on paper, because oftentimes we get nervous and we forget, right? So make sure that when you go to the meeting, you have your nice sheet of paper with all the reasons why you're unhappy, so you can talk about this openly and honestly. And certainly negotiate terms moving forward, right? Negotiate what you want to have happen with the relationship between you and your boss. Oftentimes, it's a simple situation of, this is how I prefer to be communicated, or this is how I prefer to be addressed, or I'm given too much work, it's overwhelming, and I cannot get my work done. And the bottom line is that I want to do a good job, and I need you to help me do the best job I can. So you always want to come through this conversation with a sense of purpose and intention, recognizing that most bosses are really not trained to be employers. They've risen in the ranks over the years because of good performances, or because they were liked by a higher manager within the company. And the person is there to provide benchmarks, targets, ensure productivity is kept to the maximum. They're pencil pushers, more or less, and not necessarily empowering, employee, nurturing kind of individuals. They're designed to be sure that productivity is kept to the maximum. So recognizing this and understanding that communicating your thoughts and feelings is important to your employer, but doing it objectively, coming from a place, not from a defensive place, but from a place of honesty and truth and power, right? And once you're able to negotiate better terms moving forward of how you want to be treated, then guaranteed things would change. And if they don't, then you have human resources. Don't forget, human resources is on the side of the employee, but they're also on the side of the employer too. Hopefully, human resources is objective enough to listen to you and give you good feedback and speak to the employer or the boss and ensure that you have a better working relationship moving forward. And if that doesn't happen, if that doesn't work, then hey, maybe that job isn't for you. Find another job. Until next time, I'm Michael Robinson. Catch me every day on Microbin Radio. Simply download our free app from the App Store or Google Play. Look for Microbin Radio.